Hey, what's up? It's Celeste. Signed by Celeste is my notary name, and welcome to my channel, Holy Ship and Print. So let's get right into it. Today, I just want to talk about a few quick things, like reasons why people would open a pack and ship store. What is the reason why people would need a virtual mailbox? Because I keep getting questions about, what is the model of this business and why would this business make sense? Even my mother asked me, why would somebody get a mailbox that is outside of their home? Well, here are the reasons. All right, so there are several reasons why people need a virtual mailbox. The first reason is they are similar to a digital nomad, or they are a traveler. So they may travel the world or just not have a permanent address. So that would be one reason why they would want to open a virtual mailbox, so that they can have a consistent address to send all of their mail to, have their packages sent to safely if they're not in a space where they can always get them. And then they can come to frequent that place as often as they can to pick up that mail, or they can have you ship or send that mail via scan as often as necessary. So that would be one type of person and one reason why somebody would get a virtual mailbox. The second reason is they're going to start a business. A lot of people are starting a business, but they're starting it from their home or some other mobile location, and they don't have an actual physical address. Lots of people want to be verified on Google. Lots of people want to just have a space that makes it more stable for their business, so that the address doesn't move from place to place. If they move from city to city, or they move from, rental to rental, they would get a virtual address so that they can have one address for the long term for banks and for people they're, applying with for different credit lines and things like that. They want to have a stabilized address so that they don't have to move their, change their information with their vendors every 2 years or however long their leases may be. So I mentioned people starting from home. That is one thing. Like, if they start their business from home and they don't necessarily expect to grow into a space, a lot of times they want to start with a virtual address so that people don't have the address to their home. So if they can start that business with the address from the beginning and not just change it from the home to the virtual address, which you can also still do, then they are golden as far as, if you keep the rest of your information private and personal, and you don't have to mix the business with your personal info. So those are two reasons. Lastly, there are plenty of people who are dealing with porch pirates, okay? So no matter whether that's a thing in your area or near you, or something that you even understand, maybe you don't get a lot of deliveries and you just have mail that you're not concerned about people going into your mailbox for. But there are other people who get lots of packages, or they get checks in the mail, and they're in an area where they just don't believe that all of those items will be safe. So they get a virtual mailbox or address so that they can have all of those deliveries safely received by someone else, a CMRA that can receive their mail safely, so that they don't have to be concerned about rushing home or having a neighbor pick up their items, or any of those other things that you can do to try to help prevent porch pirates. So those are the three main reasons that I've ever seen anyone get a virtual mailbox. There are plenty of other reasons why people want them. They just want an address in a certain neighborhood. They also want to not have certain mail shipped to their home, even though they do get mail at the home. They just want a different address for others to ship to. And then there are sellers, like Etsy sellers and Shopify sellers and Amazon sellers, who actually ship their items out, and they don't want to ship them from their home, and they also don't want the returns to come back to their home. So they would get a virtual address for that reason. So those are the reasons to get a virtual address. If you have any other questions about why people would come to another location, like a shipping store, to get a mailbox and not just use the post office, let me also give that fact that the post office has P.O. boxes. Okay, so the difference between your private mailbox and the P.O. box is that certain delivery companies will not deliver to a P.O. box. Certain companies don't accept P.O. boxes as your address. So a private mailbox is always accepted as a actual location and actual address because it is not considered a P.O. box. So that's just a pro for why you would get a private mailbox versus a P.O. box. So now the difference between a P.O. box and a private mailbox. So a lot of companies and vendors do not accept P.O. boxes as your actual address. So a private mailbox is different in the way that it allows you a real address where you can add your private mailbox number at the end, and they will consider it a real address. So you can get all of your packages. The carriers do not deny packages to real address locations. So private mailboxes are accepted as a real address. And then it's just different for applications as well. When you can't put a P.O. box on an application, a private mailbox does not run into that issue because it is a private mailbox with an actual address, and you are using, similar to a suite number, your suite number or box number as the deliverable address. Okay, so those are the main differences. Some of us charge less than the post office as well. It may be a little more than the post office in a pack and ship that you go to because they can also receive all of your packages, whereas the post office does not receive all packages. So you just have to look into the options that will work best for you and what your needs are, and you kind of work it out that way. What is best for you, a private mailbox, a P.O. box? I say private mailbox because you can get everything and you can also use it as a real address. But if that's not what you need, then just do your research and find out if it works for you to use another source. Thank you so much for joining me today at Holy Ship and Print YouTube channel. I'm Celeste. Signed by Celeste is my notary name, and I'll see y'all on the next one.